guys, so I am back this week to talk about how you can support your evolution and growth in 2024 and make this year completely different than it's ever been before by breaking free from self-sabotage. Now, I think that it's really important to remember that you do not have to have it all figured out and all planned out right now, because when we try to overhaul it and do it all at once and go crazy, it never is sustainable. And so taking things into small bite-sized chunks and really focusing on what your priorities are, what your top things are, what the things that are most important to you are, is going to be what's really critical. So really look at, what do I want to focus on and really see myself set in motion and accomplish by, let's say, or at least see progress in by, let's say, March, because usually it takes about 64 days to really see the effects of new habits. That's actually what their research shows us. And so pick 2 or 3 things that you really want to set your focus on and start there versus overhauling. Now, I want to go through a few things with you guys in terms of how you can start to really support your growth depending on what it is that you're going to work on. Most women who come to work with me are really focused on their physical body and supporting that and really getting more energy, potentially losing weight, feeling less bloated, feeling more at home in their body. If that is you, I think the best thing that you can do is really start to understand your body's nutritional needs, because it is going to be completely different than anyone you're watching on Instagram, than anything you see me doing, than anything that your coworker is doing. And so the second you see that person doing keto diet over here, or that person on your screen doing the vegan diet over there, and then you see this person is doing X, Y, and Z workout program, it's so important to know what's going on with you and your body. And so if you're somebody who is dealing with, let's say, blood sugar stability issues, and you find yourself having a ton of cravings, you are binging at night, you are eating more sugar than you'd like to be eating, you're feeling brain foggy and anxious and low energy, then we have to support that blood sugar stability so that you can correct everything. If you are somebody who has stubborn weight that you can't seem to lose, maybe you have cortisol issues, then we really need to focus on your stress management and eating an anti-inflammatory diet so that your cortisol levels can come down and your body feels safe to lose weight. And so what I would really recommend anyone doing, whether it's with me or your primary care practitioner or any functional medicine doctor, is getting a full round of labs at the beginning of the year so that you can support yourself in understanding what's going on with your body and meeting your own nutritional needs, because most of the women that I work with tend to have some sort of a nutritional deficiency, hormone imbalance, gut health issue, adrenal issue. There is at least one of those 4 things that is going on at any given point in time, especially if you don't feel at home in your body. And so understanding that so that you can meet your baseline needs is really, really critical. The next way that you can really help to support your own evolution and growth this year is to communicate your goals with the people in your life. So whether that means you're joining our program January 15th and you have our support group, which is all of the women who are in the program, we're all going to go around, we're going to talk about our goals, we're going to verbalize them, we're going to say them out loud, because the second you speak it out into the universe, it becomes this living, breathing thing that other people are watching you for, that other people are holding you accountable for, and you don't want to let yourself down, because that's breaking down trust, that's breaking down confidence, but you also don't want to let anyone else in your life down. So whether you're joining us or not, communicate your goals with someone, with your partner, with your therapist, with your coach, with your friends. Say it out loud, make it actionable, make it measurable, make it something that is time bound. So think about, okay, if I am specific about this, let's say I want to move my body more, I'm going to work out 3 times a week. Okay, for how long? What's the minimum? I'm going to work out for at least 10 minutes 3 times a week. That might seem like you're starting really small, but for somebody who's not working out at all, it's specific, it's actionable, it's measurable, it's time bound so that they can see at the end of the month, have I followed through with this? If I have, what are the results that I've noticed? Do I have more energy? Do I feel more confident in myself? Do I feel like I am losing weight? Do I feel like I am less anxious? Do I feel like I'm more creative? Whatever the goal is, because like that's underlying behind that movement. So specific, measurable, actionable, time bound. Look at all of those things and make sure your goal has that when you speak it out loud to somebody else. Because if you have a goal and you say it out loud to somebody else, like, I just want to work out more, that doesn't mean anything, because you can make excuse after excuse after excuse and not show up for it because it's not specific enough. It's not measurable enough. And so you fall short. So don't fall into that trap. The next thing that I want you guys to think about in supporting your growth is that rest and a clear mind make everything in terms of meeting your goals so much easier. So why rest and a clear mind? First, I think that most of us run around with chronic overwhelm. Most of us run around in fight or flight. I know I did for the majority of my life. And what I will say is that when you are overwhelmed, when your cortisol is high, when you're in fight or flight, everything seems like a 3-alarm fire. Everything seems like it's your number one priority. And when you come from a place of rest, calm, grounded, you can actually start to strip away what is important to other people and what is important to you. What is important for you without anybody else's expectation, anybody else's judgment, anybody else's thoughts. What are your values, and how do you start to implement those things into your calendar, into your life, and make those things actionable? When you're not rested, we make excuses. We say that things aren't important anymore, even though they are important to us. We feel overwhelmed and burnout and like we can't keep going. And so incorporate that rest into your schedule so that you can show up for the things that are actually important to you. Sit with yourself day in and day out. I know it's uncomfortable if you haven't done it at first, because you're like, I don't want to sit with these anxious thoughts. I don't want to sit with these fears. I don't want to sit with what's going on upstairs. But until you do, you won't understand what is in your head and your heart. And if you don't understand that, you're never going to be able to achieve good health, because everybody else's expectations are projected onto you, and you feel all of this immense sense of pressure that you have to do everything right, versus being in touch with yourself and what's important to you. And again, stripping away a lot of the things that aren't necessarily important because there are somebody else's priorities. So really take that time to get clear, and get clear every single day, because that's what's going to empower you to keep going. If it's not your goal, if it's somebody else's expectation, if you're people pleasing, if you're trying too hard to make it perfect, you're going to fall off the wagon. And so show up rested with a clear mind. The next thing that I want you guys to remember is that your past does not dictate your future. So let go of the idea that it didn't work out before. Let go of the idea that it was challenging or hard, or you didn't show up the way that you wanted to last time. You get to choose differently. You get to learn from your mistakes. And I think that is the most important thing. So many of us have this immense fear of failure, that we're not going to do it 100% perfect. And let me just start by telling you right here, right now, whatever it is that you're working on this year, you're not going to do it perfect. None of us are going to do it perfect. And so the second we let go of that completely unrealistic expectation, we're going to do so much better. We build in flexibility into our goal setting and our goal achieving. And we really allow for the potential for success to be so much fuller. So let go of the unrealistic expectation, build in flexibility. If you are saying that you want to eat healthier, but you're going on like a conference, let's say, okay, they might not have healthy options there. So you have to build in flexibility to do your best that you can while you're on a work trip. So maybe that means that you have 2 servings of salad and 1 or 2 slices of pizza, rather than half of a pizza at whatever work event you're at, because that's the only option that they have. Maybe you think about pre-planning ahead and bringing some bars or some packets of protein powder in your bag so that you have a backup plan, a number 2, something that builds in that flexibility for you, right? But unless we have that, we're going to give up every time we feel like we fell off or we failed or we have that all-start Monday mentality. Don't fall to that trap. Allow yourself to really think about, this is an opportunity for my growth, and anything that happened in the past is a learning opportunity. Any challenges that come up in the future are learning opportunities for me. These are ways for me to help my continued sense of growth and what I am trying to work on. Nothing is not figure outable. You can figure it all out, but don't let your past dictate your future. If it's something you really want, if it's an idea you really have and it's in your heart, you're capable of accomplishing it. It's just about figuring it out along the way. Last thing that I want to say to you is that it really comes back to, again, being your most authentic self. Whether you want to be happier, whether you want to be more successful, whether you want to be healthier, those are all things that you have to define on your own in order to be able to live your most authentic life. And when you do that, when you come back to the things that are your true values versus what everybody else is projecting onto you, you attract that. You attract happiness, you attract joy, you attract success, you attract health, because you're doing things that are in alignment with your values. And so stop trying to compete with other people and their timelines. You're not on somebody else's timeline. You're on your own timeline. And if you're just starting now, great. They might be 3 years ahead of you. Your progress is never going to be the same as theirs because your life is not the same as theirs. And so find the things that are in alignment with your values. Follow that plan and stop looking at what everybody else is doing. Stay in your own lane. When you're so concerned about this person's doing this and that person's doing that, and I saw her on Instagram doing this, it distracts you mentally. It takes away from your mental willpower to be able to show up powerfully for the things that you want. And so let's strip that away. Yeah, sure, you can still watch your Instagram stories or hear about your friend's success story, but think about the progress you're making incrementally, day after day, week after week, month after month. What does your progress look like? And looking at the only competition that you really have is yourself, and yourself a few months ago and yourself a few weeks ago. Like, it really empowers you to keep showing up and to continue to motivate you to be on your journey for exactly what it is that you want, because nobody else is you. Nobody else is your unique, beautiful self. And so remember that as you work towards the things you want. Don't fall into the trap of trying to want somebody else's life. Want what you want and do the things to allow you to get there while you stay focused mentally on those things. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, please head over to wellnessbykelly.com and sign up for our 30-day program. If you feel like any of these things spoke to you, these are a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about in the Break Free from Self-Sabotage program that starts January 15th. You're also going to get a grocery list. You're going to get daily meals, recipes, a guide to eating out, workouts, meditations. You're going to have all of that so that you have the framework and the tools to be able to implement these habits into your life that are designed to balance your hormones and help with your health, while we also figure out, why have I self-sabotaged in the past? Why have I not allowed myself to be consistent with the things that I know I need to be consistent with? What has been standing in my way, and how am I going to do things differently this year? So if you're ready to break free from that cycle, if you're ready to make yourself really proud, join us on January 15th. I'm so excited to see you there, and I hope that you subscribe, rate, review our YouTube, and I will see you soon.